The year is 1996. The pedal is the Zoom 505. What a weird pedal.
I'm getting excited right now.
Are you excited? So I don't do pedals. This is a weird conversation for us to be having. Why are we talking about
Did
this?
you not like look at your little guitar world and just lust after Zoom products back then?
My parents wouldn't buy me anything, that stuff. You know, so I had a Gorilla amp after I'd blown up the Walmart stereo.
It was a Zoom, and you'd have made it awesome.
No, because I plugged my input of my guitar into the Walmart stereo headphone jack, and then I could play through the speakers somehow. It was awesome. And then blew the speakers eventually after a year doing that. Well, then I got a Gorilla amp.
Dude, I just remember that, and you can tell me if you remember this, you guys in the comments. I remember reading about the Zoom pedals. The Zoom thing was that when you hit the button, there was no like latency. It was so fast. You could switch between presets.
Amazing. So I mean, this did set the standard for like, you know, what was to come.
It was the first little, like I think I might have had some of those Dan Electro, the food ones, you know, like the grilled cheese and stuff. Those little cheap, which, you know, it would be fun to have all those again. But I remember buying those, but I think the first real thing I had that could make all the sounds, you know, flangers and phasers and blah, 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 was the 505. That was what I had.
Well, I have that Ibanez one over there that's got the little...
Mine was nowhere near. The 505 was just like little 2-foot pedals.
Mine's awesome.
The horrible tuner in the middle. It was nowhere near that fancy.
No, it's like this, then you comp it with like what, the Boss, the GT5 is of the same year.
Right.
So I do remember seeing these and like, oh my God, like all the tones of all the great records
Everything
are in that.
Right there. It sounds so natural. Even back then they were saying, yeah, you can't distinguish this from analog. But I just remember having the Zoom. I remember lusting after the Digitech and the Boss stuff. In fact, I went, my little very first Christian rock band, we went to play at this church. And this band came, and I don't know who they were. They had just played in Brazil, and we thought they were a huge deal.
Okay.
And he had, I think, the Boss one, like the nice Boss one. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was playing through this god-awful solid-state Randall amp with the Zoom going into it.
So let me just take a preview. So if you are under 40,
yes,
this is probably confusing conversation right now. But you might be a collector of this like rare and sought-after gear too, to where you know like the joys of what we're speaking of. But it's are these still used?
I mean, Zoom still makes something similar to this.
Are these still used?
Probably.
I mean, it's probably got like a vintage sound to it as well.
I'm sure they're out there. I would like to get a hold. If you got one and you want to send it to us, we'll see if we can do a track with like just the Zoom 505, a whole song, and it'd probably make it sound decent.
I bet Robert Smith has got one of these on his gear somewhere. The Cure, he uses like vintage, sort of weird, randomly vintage, not like 1950s, not 50s and 60s, but like random 90s and early 2000s, like micro cubes.
Hey, if it works for you.
Hey, it works.
I just remember like going from this stuff to really wanting like a Johnson J station.
Whoa.
Do you remember those? It's just like a two-man.
I don't remember how much these things cost.
I don't either. I remember going to buy that at the guitar shop, but I don't remember what I paid for it.
I remember I felt like it was out of my, because like, you know, you get your amp and your guitar finally, and I was like, well, I can't get anything else.
Right.
I eventually got a tube screamer.
Okay.
And I still have that, and that was really cool. But I just and I remember buying like one of those Digitech rack mountable things from a guy who showed me some guitar stuff when I was 15 or 14, and I can't remember his name. He's probably a priest or something now. I like to imagine that. He had long hair. I feel like he fought the devil with his Metallica licks.
Why do you think? Because, you know, Digitech had stuff, and I remember like Digitech kind of did go forward, because I remember later on when I was a bit older, but I still was an idiot about gear apparently, I bought some of the Digitech, like the GNX stuff. I had an RP 500.
Everything.
I mean, I went through a lot of this dumb stuff. I never had the Boss, but it seems like, you know, Boss has got a thing now that's supposed to compete with like the Helix, but I don't think it does. I don't think Digitech really does.
So I think that's probably your question, is like, why is Digitech and Boss not in the same world as like some of these great modelers now? And that's something I would go back to, even some of the major manufacturers. Everybody wants a piece of every market share,
Of course they do. Yep.
And then we look at like guys like Fender, who like some of the best electric guitars ever known to man.
Cannot make acoustics. I hate to say it, but
they make a really good affordable one that's made overseas, but they keep trying to do like, you know, we're gonna make this middle range price one that's like, the high ones are ridiculous, but I mean the middle range ones even, like it's solid woods made in China, and it's like it's still like a GS Mini just crushes it, or something. Or like even the CD60, I think is better than some of those.
And
it's weird.
CD60 is not bad.
That's what I'm saying.
But
it's
it's a $250 guitar.
Yeah, like $250. It's like somewhere in that range. I don't know.
With a hard case.
And then yeah. Well, Derek was mentioning too, like, do they even care? Because they have such a huge mass market share of all the small pedals, and
Boss probably crushes everyone just with friggin' like blues drivers and DS1s and SD1s. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think they still care.
I'm sure they
still
care.
Want that marquee.
And they put that product out there, that like GT1000 or whatever it's called, you know. But I just don't think it doesn't do something as well as like the Helix.
Now, what if they released a product that had the Zoom 505, the Boss GT5, the Boss ME5, the Digitech RB1, the Boss ME10, all these things in one
The Legacy
unit.
series?
I mean, how cool would that be?
It'd be kind of like those things you get that connect to your TV, and they have like Mario and all the Pong games, like all the old,
like when you go to Cracker
crappy,
Barrel,
and you
see this. Like I'm tempted every
Pac-Man.
time I go to Cracker Barrel, which I go to more than I like to admit, because I love the store, and I think
kids love it.
We go to the 75% off section too, and we score on those chocolate coins. You know, it's just you got to know.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're again thrifty. Some people call us cheap, but the Clements we strike gold that way sometimes.
Hey.
But I do love that the little video game things.
It's just nostalgia, yeah.
It's also fun.
It is fun.
It's like sometimes it's not just trash nostalgia. Like some of it is like, whoa, like jelly shoes. Like that, we don't need to bring that back, ladies.
That's a thing. It's a
like,
thing now.
And when your toes,
I'm seeing Birkenstocks. Like all my students who are kind of cool are wearing Birkenstocks now, and I'm like, what is going on with you guys? What is happening?
I know. I was talking to some young kids that are in high school today too. You'll get a kick out of this. They're in their school uniforms. They have to wear uniforms. It's adorable. And I was like, have any of you guys seen the show Glee? And they're like, no. What's that? I'm like, oh, it's the greatest. And one kid raised his hands like, well, my dad wouldn't let me watch it because he was scared it was going to turn me gay. But I'm like, well, understood. But that's weird. But let's continue.
Probably really
some of you guys, you jocks seem like the jocks in that show because they're like 1990s bullies. It seemed a little bit. And I was like, you guys should watch it, and then you could sing songs and dance and stuff, and you'll be friends with everybody. And like, they didn't quite get my point. But I was like, maybe I'll infect some people with a little bit of Glee. I loved Glee. I thought it was so good. And if you go back and watch season 1, and all the seasons, but season 1, the choreography in some of those songs, it's unbelievable. It's like, it's a professional TV show, but it's like the level of choreo, dancing, and singing, it's pretty spectacular.
That's just what I said when I watched it.
I think you're lying. You're making fun of me.
I said, man, look at this choreo.
Of course the guy on this side watched Glee. I still haven't seen the new live action Wicked. Like there's a cartoon Wicked, but it's coming on Disney soon. I guess I'll watch it then eventually. My family all went to see it. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen a bunch of that stuff. Anyway, so where does this lead us to the future now, or do we just look in the past?
I think we got to go to the past. I think we got to get all these things.
I think so. So if you have these, let us know. Like we're definitely highly curious. If you just want to get rid of them, they've been collecting dust. We'll pay for shipping immediately. We'll give you a modest little stipend just so we can have a collection and play with them and make a cool video with them all.
Do you think, here's my last deep thought, it's not really that deep.
Thoughts.
So like, I feel like back then, right, it was like you got one of these things, and then for a while I thought that you graduated to the big boss, and then I realized, oh no, you just graduate, you get single pedals. Because this was post like rack gear. Like you get single pedals, you build a pedal board, and that's cooler than this. Have we swung the other way? Are we swinging the other way where it's back to the pros have, a Helix or a Quad Cortex or something like that with all the effects, Homemaster Pro, whatever you want to call it.
That is good. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
You guys are going to have to answer that one because it is confusing to me as well. I'm not a huge pedal guy, but it still seems even people with the Quad and the Helix, everything, they still have pedals. There's not, I think it's just like, I've seen like pedal boards that have it opens up, there's the pedals underneath it, and there's pedals underneath that. I think actually dig trenches, there's pedals underground. And what's all the stuff Dylan has on his pedal board? Like where it's like
the gig rig.
The gig rig. I don't even know what these things are half the time. Like what in the world is going on here? It's like
MIDI.
He pressed a button, like I think a helicopter came out with a little tiny hamburger and delivers you like on your jam salad.
I want the pedal equivalent of the Power Glove.
Dude, okay.
Imagine if you're just playing, all of a sudden you're like, pinky out, and then that's your fuzz. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. You had a little, like the little controller right here. Bam, bam. Tell me you don't want that.
The Power Glove totally didn't work. That's the only problem.
It didn't, but it was so cool.
It was
such
a cool idea. Like, I never had one.
I had one friend who had one.
So my parents never got me a Nintendo when I was a kid. Everyone had the Nintendo. They got me the Atari 2600. So I was like 2 generations before. It was
rocking.
It was pathetic. I had like,
Playing Pong.
I was playing Pitfall. I was like, come on, guys. And they're like, no.
Nah, we're
I didn't
good.
have many friends. To ask my mom about those stories, the times of Baxter. Just
That's why you're such a good guitar player. It was all
I
worth
mean,
it. It
I
was
just
all
spent
worth
a lot
it.
of time by
It was
myself.
all worth
She's like, it really paid off for you, Baxter. Mommy had to have a little relax. Just time like while you were locked in your room outside in that suburb of Chicago.
Well, there you go.
Lovely. Thanks, Mom.
Now you know.
Met my
Not
dad
where I
eventually.
thought we were going.
Met my dad eventually when I was like 8, but that was another story. But therapy's later at 10 a.m.
It's fine.
Oh, God help us. No, thanks for joining us. We love going down memory lane with these cool toys, and we love gear. It's fun. Even gear I don't play, I think it's fascinating.
It's true.
Like when I saw that Ibanez pedal board that I bought, I had to have it. I played it once and I was like, it's awesome.
We should do something with that. We should do a video with that someday.
Yeah, I will. If you guys want us to, just let us know.
Yeah, you do.
I have some really crazy stuff that we can do tons of dumb stuff with.
Why not?
That was detailed. It was like Napoleon Dynamite, the description. Thanks for joining us. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Have fun out there, play music, hug your family, and peace be with you.
Dig out your old Zooms.
I think I say dig out your soul.
Or that.